Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for joining us in this webinar named Mastering the Art of Effective Recruitment, a Comprehensive Guide. I'm Rodolfo Viola, representative in the US for several Argentinian companies doing IT business based in Houston, Texas, and member of the IT Commission of the Argentina-Texas Chamber of Commerce. The Argentina-Texas Chamber of Commerce is an independent, non-profit voluntary membership association founded in 2016 with the objective of promoting investment, trade, education, and networking opportunities between Texas and Argentina by acting as a catalyst for innovative, ethical, and productive business relationships. The ATCC also offers support and resources to help companies navigate cultural differences and overcome challenges associated with doing business in a foreign country. The Chamber is dedicated to fostering strong economic relationships between Argentina and Texas and promoting growth and prosperity for both regions. In this webinar session, we will provide the audience with an overview about the complete hiring system to find, attract, hire, and onboard the best professionals in tech. Talking about our speaker, Santiago Lopez Guiñazu is a seasoned professional and the CEO of Pitcheers. With over 16 years of international experience, he has played a pivotal role in assisting companies worldwide in accessing talent across the 5 continents. His expertise is building bridges between companies and skilled professionals, making him a driving force in talent acquisition. Finally, we would like to express our gratitude to our corporate members for their continued support of the Chamber. Without them, these activities would not be possible. They are Pan American Energy, Gold member, Duralite, Globant, and PCR, Silver members, as well as AESA, Marvel of Farrer Mayral, Mayer Brown, Practia, Rochelle, and Q Advanced Bronze members. Let us clarify that our webinars are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. A brief indication of the outline of our webinar series. First, Santiago will present his talk, and we kindly request you hold the question and concerns until the end of this presentation. You can submit your questions in the Q&A chat, and I will read them to Santiago once the performance is finished. So, Santiago, all yours, let's start.
Rodolfo, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you everyone else in having me today here. Thanks for joining us for this webinar. As Rodolfo said, I'm going to be doing a presentation in Mastering the Art of Effective Recruitment. It's quite a detailed presentation. I'm going to be going through it at a high level. Then Rodolfo or someone else from the team will be sharing the presentation. So you will be able to see all the small details on how you can do and have an effective recruitment strategy. So yeah, the idea is that everyone can ask as many questions as possible. It's not about me talking for a long period of time. So the idea is to give you as much as possible insights in how you can do this for your own company. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen so I can share the presentation. Rodolfo, please check if it's being seen correctly.
Not yet.
Yep, cool, great. As I said, I'm going to go through the presentation.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
Lucas, can you see that? I cannot see. Can you try again?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I will do it again just in case. Share screen, entire screen. Can you see it now?
Now there you are.
Yeah, now it's working.
That's perfect.
Cool, great. Well, mastering the art of effective recruitment. As Rodolfo was saying, I have been in this field for over 16 years. And I'm working to close that gap in between people trying to find jobs and not being able to do it effectively, and companies trying to hire the right talent and not being able to do it effectively. At least that is something I see everywhere. So I'm extremely passionate about solving this problem. I have been doing it since the beginning of my career, and I'm still pursuing that till today. So I'm going to start by doing just an introduction to make sure that everyone seeing this presentation have everything in place, and then I will go through 7 steps. As I said, I'm not going to dive deep into each example, but yes, you will have the presentation so you can see all the different examples. So let's start by the introduction. So imagine that you already have identified what you need, why you need a new team member, and who you are going to look for. When I'm talking about what you need, I'm talking about what problems do you need to solve. Most of the time when we are bringing someone on board to our organization, it's because we need to solve problems. We need to solve problems to add value to our customers through services or products. So when thinking of bringing someone on board, we really need to think, what problems do we need to solve? Second question you need to ask yourself is, why do you need a new team member? By asking yourself if there's not someone else in your company that can solve those problems already. And finally, if you decide that you have to go outside your organization to find someone, is okay, who I'm going to be looking for. So those are 3 things that are very important to have clear before starting the recruitment process. A few things that also it's important to have in place before starting the recruitment process is to have a proper job description. As I said before, it's important that you understand what problems you need to solve. It's important that you have a proper job advertisement. Job description, it's not the same as a job ad. You have to understand how you're going to assess the capabilities of the professional you're going to be having in front. So for that, you need to understand what interview questions you will have put together. You need to understand that doing a recruitment process takes time and takes resources. So you have to make sure that you will have those. And of course, many people forget about the onboarding process. Everyone is focusing on, okay, how I go and find the right person to join the team. And when they have the person, the start date comes and there's no onboarding process. And many times that's the reason why people leave in the first few months, because they haven't had a good experience in the beginning. Something you might not know, or yes, is who will be in charge of the recruitment process. It's very important, as in everything we do, that we have to have accountability. So having one person responsible for the recruitment process is key. So there are a lot of variables in the recruitment process, as in a sales process. It's very similar. So if there's anyone here that is in sales, definitely you will find a lot of things that are the same, with a different approach, with different people, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same process. There are things that you can control and there are things that you can't control. Which are those? So what are the things that you can control is how many conversations we start with the right candidates. That's something you can control and you can measure. How many conversations we start with people through different portals, through different social networks, through referrals, whatever. It's important to understand, okay, how many conversations I'm starting. The other thing that you can control is how efficient is your recruitment process. And in this, we are talking about how well written is your job advertisement, that you have someone that is responsible for the recruitment process, and some other of the things that I have mentioned before. One of the things that we can control is, okay, is people gonna get back to me? Is there someone interested in this job opening? Is the right candidate gonna accept the job offer? Those are the things that we can control, so there's not much not too many reasons why we should focus on that one, on those ones, and we should focus on how many conversations we start and how efficient is our recruitment process. Cool. So the step number one is doing proper research, doing a market research to analyze aspects such as the competition, where we want to hire, companies that are of a similar size, companies that have similar tech stacks, and so on. Why is this important? Because here in Houston, there are a lot of oil and gas companies. And if oil and gas companies don't have the people we are after, well, it doesn't make much sense to be looking for people in Houston in those other oil and gas companies as ours. So many times we will have to think if we should be hiring from somewhere else outside the city we are, to ask those professionals to relocate, or to ask those professionals to work remotely. But it's very important to have a clear understanding of which other companies can have the professionals I'm looking for. Again, it's about having a good understanding of the market. So that is step number one, where I'm going to be looking for this person. The step number two is something that we should start doing as soon as possible. That is the communication and advertising of the job. We want to make sure that we are using the most popular job portals. It could be Indeed or Monster or whatever the job portal. And of course, when it comes to technology, LinkedIn, it's very popular for tech roles. And it's important that you have this communication and advertising as soon as possible, because as soon as you put it out there, people can start applying to the jobs while you are doing some other stuff, like, for example, communicating this job opening internally within your company. Many companies are very successful with having referral programs where employees that are already working with you can refer these to their colleagues or people that they have worked before, or even friends if they are the right person for the job. Many times, big companies have these processes very well established. When it comes to small companies, many times they don't do it, they don't have it, they are not aware that they could be doing this because they haven't been exposed to this in the past. So again, step two is communicating and doing an advertisement, a proper job advertisement of the role. And I'm going to stop here just for a few seconds. The job advertisement, it's not the same as the job description. The job description is usually for internal purposes, and there are things that are not maybe appealing for the candidate to know, and you want to make the job advertisement something that it's appealing for people to want to talk to us. So step three, when it comes to tech roles, it is very hard to get people to apply to our job ads or people to apply through our careers site in our own website. So it's a lot about doing headhunting in LinkedIn, finding the right people, and LinkedIn, it's a tool that works pretty well. You have different things like filters or Boolean searches, where you're going to be able to decrease the amount of people you want to come across, because of course, if you go to LinkedIn and you put software engineer in Texas or in Houston, you will get thousands of profiles, and of course you don't have the time to go through all of them. So Boolean, I'm going to show a few examples. Boolean searches is something you do to make sure that you get across the a certain amount of profile that makes sense for you to review. So this is something we are going to dive deep. Again, when it comes to hiring tech professionals, it's quite a lot about going out there, finding the right people, starting a conversation with them, and invite them to go through the hiring process of your own company. And it requires a lot of time and resources as LinkedIn. So we're gonna spend a bit of time here in LinkedIn. Cool. Step 4. this is just to show a few of the filters that you can use when searching for people on LinkedIn. There's one that it's open to work. People that are looking for work, apart from having the green avatar in their profile picture, some of them, they don't have that, but yes, they have a setting where they can put that they're open to work. And that's a filter we recommend to start with, because you want to talk to people that are actively looking for work today. Of course, job titles, location, keywords. When it comes to keywords, many times we use the technology stack that the company is hiring for, to make sure that we are talking to the right people. And of course, if you're going to be hiring remotely outside America, you want to make sure that people are being able to communicate in English. Of course, if you have done a proper market research and you have an understanding of which companies could have the professionals that you're after, you can also filter through companies. You can filter through how many years of experience they have had in a specific role. If you're looking, let's say, for a contractor, you can filter through employment type and so on. So the filters, it's something that it's very important when it comes to LinkedIn, but we don't want to stay just with the filters because it's not enough. Yes, we want to move to, so basically later on, we're going to go to Booleans. I thought it was the next step, but no. So something that as a tool LinkedIn provides, it's a section that it's called projects. So when you're doing a search, you might want to create a project where you put all the different profiles that you have been thinking of engaging with. And the good thing about this is that you're going to be able to be well organized to go through all the different job searches that you have. And this will be helping you while you sleep, because as soon as someone changed to open to work, or I don't know, let's say that you put that you want someone with 3-year experience, and that person has now from today 3 years experience, they will be included in your project. So you can go there and review people that now match with your job search, search criteria. Cool. Boolean, basically, I'm not gonna get into this too deeply, but basically are queries that you do. They are commands that will combine keywords to obtain a specific result. Usually it's and, or, not, quotation marks, and parentheses. Here are some examples. We are gonna share the presentation later, so you will be able to go through this. But basically, it could be an example like software engineer and Java and Houston, not software testers, for example. Cool. This is something that it's very important. Again, this is probably one of the aspects that it's more closely to sales. That is how many messages we have to send and how we are gonna make people to want to get back to us. This is something that it's not necessarily part of the recruitment process, but if you as a company are creating content and you're creating employer brands, when you send a message to people, they will identify your brand, and it's going to be more likely that they're going to get back to you. Or if you are the recruiter, talent acquisition, or HR person of your company, and you are hiring quite a bit during the year, you want to create content to make sure that when you send a message, people will check on your profile. They will see that you are genuine and you're for real. We have a lot of scams nowadays. So you want to create content to make your profile more credible and people wanting to talk to you. On the other hand, it is important that you're sending all the information people want to know in order to consider your job offer or not. You want to make sure that you include the job title, the name of the company, if possible, ideally salary range, the technology stack that you're using, working modality, if it's a hybrid, if it's on premise, if it's 100% remote, what benefits are you offering, and ideally, if you have a job description. The more information you give to people, the more likely they're gonna want to get back to you, even if it's to say no thanks. But again, it is important that you share all this information. And finally, also, it is very important that you listen to the candidate. If you start a conversation, you want to make sure that then you're going to be listening to the candidate. That's why I was saying at the beginning of the presentation that having the time and resources, it's crucial to do an effective recruitment strategy. Cool. Moving to, well, step 4 here, just some examples on what information you want to include in an email through LinkedIn. Hi, Santiago, I hope you're doing great. You're probably received many messages, so I'll keep it short and straight to the point. We are currently recruiting for a backend software developer. You include the company name, if it's hybrid, from where, technology stack, if it's a permanent role, up to salary. Let me know if you would like to discuss further. Cheers. Bye. So again, very straight to the point with the information people want to know. Step 5. So we were saying that first we will send a few messages. Here we are talking about sending 25 to 30 messages. In general, out of those 25, 30 messages, you will get a 10 to 15% responses, where a few of them are going to say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. A few of them, they're going to say, okay, but I would like to get more information, or they're going to say, okay, but after talking to them, you will figure out that they're not the right person for the role. So there are 2 scenarios here when people get back to you. As I was saying, people are going to say no thanks, and people are going to say yes. If you don't get enough positive responses, you will probably have to do this search again and find more profiles to send more messages. If you have enough positive responses where you get 30 message out, you get around 50% of people getting back to you, and after that 50%, you get another 50% of people saying, yes, I want to have an interview, then you're on a good track. Step number 6, follow-ups. Follow-ups are very important. They're extremely important because when you send messages, people are busy with their lives. And many times they might see the message, they might be interested, but they're busy at that point in time, so they don't get back to you, and then they forget. So it's important to keep following up and check if they're really interested or not. Sometimes it happens that you send a LinkedIn in message and they don't get back to you, but then you invite them to connect and they accept your invitation to connect on LinkedIn. And that's another way of following up. It is very important to follow up because many times, as we all know, we are busy with our lives, and by the time the message comes in, we are busy, and then we forget to get back to you. So it is very important to follow up. Finally, step 7, this is quite addressed for people that they are doing recruitment most of their time in their company. So how to organize, we believe that you want to manage 4 search per week. So 4 different job openings per week. You work 1 or 2 of those job openings per day. You allocate 2 to 3 hours of sourcing per search. When I'm talking about sourcing, I'm talking about spending the time to identify the people to start the conversation. You send between 25 to 35 emails per search in the first 48 hours. Timing here is very important. As I was saying before, you want to have the communication and the job advert out there as soon as possible so people can start applying. And also you want to start sending the messages through LinkedIn or email or whatever in the first 48 hours to make sure that you will have traction quickly. You schedule between 15 to 25 interviews per week. If you're going to be working on 4 job openings at the same time, you use your calendar to organize your time, and you use an applicant tracking system to understand where you are with each candidate in each role. Cool. Tips for a good pipeline. A little bit of what I was saying before. How many hours you want to allocate? Usually, you spend 12 hours per role, and it takes 3 to 4 days to have some traction. This is because people take time to get back to you, and it takes time to arrange those interviews. Usually you want to schedule interviews as soon as possible. And as I was saying before, you want to follow up. And if you do all these correctly, you have a proper job description, you are doing all the hiring strategy nice and tidy, usually between 3 weeks to 1 month, you should be able to hire someone to join your team. So to recap, you have to do a proper research, you have to implement a proper hiring strategy, you have to contact people out there. Most of the time we use LinkedIn. You have to process the answers. You have to do a lot of follow-up during the interview process as well. And well, you now know how to organize. So for you to make sure that you are on the right path, you have to review between 200 to 300 profiles. You're going to be sending 30 messages. You will get 50 responses, and you will be interviewing 5 to 7 candidates to hire one person. So that's pretty much it. I hope I didn't go too fast. But yeah, those are, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That's how we work on a daily basis for every of our clients when we are doing job searches for them. Something we want to do in our company at Pitchers is basically provide this information for people that are doing it on their own to make sure that they can hire the right people for the team and achieve their goals.
Okay, Santiago, please, everyone, if you want to ask something to Santiago, just please write down in the Q&A chat. In the meanwhile, I have a couple of questions for you. What are the biggest challenges within everything you mentioned?
So the biggest challenge from my experience is something I haven't talked that much in the presentation. I just talked a little bit about at a high level that it's the job description, identifying what problems you need to solve. Most of the time, if you are hiring for your engineering team, for your software engineering team, you will go by, we need a software engineer, you will name the technology stack, and then you will add a few years of experience to give the seniority, and you will go out there to start talking to people. Most of the time when you do that, the hiring process gets messy because you start talking to a lot of people that doesn't match with what you're after, and you waste a lot of time. So taking the time to identify what problems you need to solve and put together the right job description is one of the biggest challenges, because there's no awareness of that as such a big problem. So those one of the biggest challenges. The other challenge, there are two other challenges that I see. Mainly, that is the second one, is having the time and resources to engage with people and getting them to want to talk to you. Again, tech people, even though we have been during a year where there have been a lot of layoffs in the big tech companies, and many people think that it's like, now there's way more people available. They still have a lot of opportunities. So engaging with the right talent, it is time consuming. And again, that's another challenge. And finally, this would be probably one of the biggest challenges as well, is if your offer is competitive in the market you are. Again, technology, you might be competing against companies all around the country that they are hiring remotely. So even though they might be in Seattle, they might be hiring Houston, and they want and they are okay with hiring remotely, and your company might have the policy that they want people working on premise. So it is harder to compete against those things. I have been talking to a few oil and gas companies in Houston, and they want to hire locally. And by locally, I mean people going to the office. And this is usually a challenge. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but yes, you'll have to spend more time finding the right people that want to go to your office. So I would say that those are the three things are the biggest challenge when it comes to all the hiring strategy for your company.
Okay, thank you, Santi. Now, a little bit tough. Could you please provide, this is from Nicolas, could you please provide an estimate for an average tech position? What's the expected capacity per recruiter in terms of new open? Let's say a team of 3 recruiters. How many new employees could get in a month for a standard position as a full stack React?
It's a tough question. Without having all the information and all the context, but I would say that one recruiter that is dedicating full time to engage with people out there, to coordinate interviews for themselves, to coordinate interviews for the hiring managers, and doing the offers and like doing end-to-end process. I would say that could be hiring, or at least I'm gonna say what I was doing when I was doing recruitment on my own. If it's internally, so for my own company, hiring for my own company, I was probably hiring 8 to 12 people a month, doing everything end to end. So yeah, 30 people a month, I would say, 3 recruiters.
Okay, thanks.
It depends on the role as well, and it depends, again, what are the activities, because many times internal recruiters, they are doing other activities apart from recruitment in the HR department. So it will depend how much time they have to actually do recruitment. But I would say 3 people internally to do proper work, 30 people. At some point, I was working 30 roles on my own at one company, but I was not filling the 30 roles in a month.
Okay, next, Luciana, you have mentioned a tracking system for searches. Which one do you recommend?
So, which one I recommend? There are so many. There's no one applicant tracking system that I would say this is amazing. You have to use this one, but you have Bullhorn, you have Greenhouse, you have Workable or Workable. I think it's the name. But if you're just starting, a good Excel spreadsheet, it's good enough. But I would say that, yeah, if I have to choose one, I wouldn't go with the big ones, Success Factors, for example, or Talio from the big companies like SAP or Oracle. I will try to go with I don't know, Smart Recruiter. It's a pretty good one. JobBite. Again, yeah, I don't have any one of my preference, but JobBite, Smart Recruiters, Workable would be the ones I have worked with, and
Great.
are pretty enough.
Next, do you know any sooner fair jobs in Houston?
If I know what, sorry?
Fair jobs.
First
jobs
jobs?
fairs. Jobs fairs.
Sorry, I'm not getting the questions.
Job fair, open fairs for recruitment.
No.
Okay. Next, Pablo. Once you have the final 5 or 7 candidates, how is the final decision made? I expect it is a discussion between the company with the need and pitchers.
Exactly. So once you have 5 to 7 candidates, you have that's the beginning of the hiring process. So you do the initial interview, and most of the time the initial interview is about behavioral questions, having high level understanding if they have the experience with the tech stack of technology. You make sure that they are okay with the salary range you are, and so on. Then you have 3 to 5 more stages. That it's the interview with the hiring manager. That could be the software development manager. Then you can have another stage that it's a technical exercise, and they might have a final interview. Some other companies, they include a psychometric test and some other things. But yeah, those 5-7 candidates, usually you can process their applications and go through the different round of interviews in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks time, depending on how available are the people that are going to be doing the interviews.
Okay, I got the last one. Yes, the last one is, you mentioned LinkedIn, right? You show the process. How do LinkedIn license work?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, there are different licenses. You have the like standard license that basically is for free. You register and you have LinkedIn. You can connect with people and you can do some searches. But if you're hiring, probably it's not going to work much because it's quite limited on how many people you can search for. And it's quite limited in how many invitations you can send to connect with people. So it's not going to be useful. Then you have another license that it's called Light Recruiter License, where you can basically you have these projects where you can put all the profiles per project, and usually each project it's a job opening. You can send up to 30 messages per month. So that's the first issue with the LinkedIn Recruiter. You can only send 30 messages per month. So it will probably help you for only one job opening. That's the first issue. And then you have another license that it's a corporate recruitment, that it's quite better because you have up to 100 messages that you can send to people that it's not your first connection, saying second or third connection. The other good thing is that one of the questions was how many people could be hiring or recruiting 30 recruiters. So basically, when you have a team of recruiters working in the same company, you don't want recruiters sending, let's say, an offer to Rodolfo, and then another recruiter of my team sending another offer to Rodolfo for the same company through us. So in that sense, this license allows to see who else from your team has been messaging Rodolfo. So basically, you can work better organized. But I would say that also it has better filter functionalities. But also it's way more expensive. So we are talking about LinkedIn Recruiter license, Light Recruiter license. It's about, I don't know now, but probably it might be around the $150, $180 per license. And if you're talking about a corporate recruiter license, probably you want to have at least a team of 4 to make it worth, and you're talking about $800 per license. So it gets way more expensive. But if you're hiring a lot of people a year, then it makes sense. So yeah, that's LinkedIn, how it is a resource, but also it has its limitations because of price or because of functionalities.
Okay, great. Okay, we are running just out of time. We're just for 11:40 here in Houston. Just to close, thank you again for attending this webinar. Thanks, Santiago, for this amazing presentation, and thanks, Cheers, for letting you do that. So thank you all. Hope it
Thanks,
serve you.
Rodolfo. Thanks for having me.
Remember, Santiago's information is just there in the chat, santiago@pitcheers.com, and this webinar will be in the Argentina-Texas Chamber of Commerce channel in YouTube. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.